Okay. Okay. I call this meeting to order. At this time, would you please stand for the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and Texas Pledge.
Thank you, Mayor. Father, I come before you this evening and pray for every leader, resident, and guest in our city. I pray that your spirit of justice and godliness would be known in our land, and I pray for a blessing, not only for peace, but for a wonderful, safe life in our lives, in our homes, in our businesses. In Jesus' name, amen.
Praise the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay, we got a couple proclamations here tonight. First one we have is declaring July Parks and Recreation Month. And because Miss Lindsay Rail here, she's very much of an advocate of the Parks and the Rec Department, she's going to read the proclamation.
Proclamation, Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Corinth, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, and whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space designed to promote active lifestyles, and whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the city of Corinth recognizes the benefits derived from Parks and Recreation resources. Now, therefore, Bill Heidemann, Mayor of the City of Corinth, Texas, does hereby proclaim the month of July as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Corinth.
Okay. Council, you want to come down? We'll present that to the Melissa and the park crew.
There's a story behind that, though.
Well, I'm scared to hear it.
You're fine. Come on. Squeeze in. Squeezy, squeezy. There you go, Melissa. Light them on fire.
Thought I was going to get out of speaking tonight. Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation team, we'd like to thank you for acknowledging that July is National Parks and Recreation Month. This acknowledgement highlights the vital role that Parks and Recreation plays in the enrichment of our community and the members here. Sorry, I'm not a very good public speaker. All the things that we do is here for the community. We do everything that we can for them. We provide everything. The events, the parks, the safe places, it's all for them, and because of you, we like to thank you for the support and your steadfast commitment that you provide for us to be able to offer these things. Thank you for your recognition and your steadfast support for us. Thank you.
Well, we really appreciate all your efforts out there, and again, one of the things that we've always try to promote in the city of Corinth is family. And you guys do a great job of taking care of the family. So thank you so much. Now, next proclamation. This is a really good one. It's for a gentleman that's retiring. But before we get into the proclamation, I just wanted to give some of the people here a little historical background how DATQ actually got to the city of Corinth. And this happened about, I think, 12, 13 years ago. And I was at a Rotary Club meeting at Oakmont having breakfast with Mr. McKenzie, and he wasn't very happy. I said, "What happened? Why are you so mad?" And he goes, "Well, we lost our zoning appeal in the city of Denton, and what they had done is they'd taken an option on some land over there where St. Mark's is, and they needed to get some zoning changes done in order to build their corporate headquarters there." So I said, "You know what? That's okay." I said, "Corinth's open for business, you know?" So we had a very aggressive EDC director, guy by the name of Guy Brown. And so once I left there, I called Guy because I was chairman of the Economic Development Council at that time. And I said, "Hey," I said, "call this guy. I think we might have a candidate to move his headquarters here." And so he did, and the rest is history. I mean, they've been a great corporate citizen to us. We've really enjoyed that. Plus, think about it. They're right on I-35, and they get a lot of exposure to a lot of traffic, even though every morning we have crashes up there. But that just gives them more time to see your name out there. So, but anyhow, but this is in recognition of Mr. McKenzie. Glenn McKenzie joined DATQ Credit Union in 2001 and served in the role of CEO President, Chief Financial Officer, Executive Vice President of Operations, and over the course of his tenure, the credit union's asset size has gone from $180 million to $1.7 billion. Wow. What a track record. That's not going to get broken. Glenn is a proud father of two and holds a Bachelor of Business from Lamar University and is a graduate of Southwest Kuna Management School. And Glenn has 37 years of experience serving a financial institution, most of which has been in supervision and management. Prior to joining DATQ, he served 8 years as president and CEO of Firestone Community Federal Credit Union. He has overseen multiple data processing conversions, realized significant operating expense reductions, and consistently raised return on assets to top-tier performance. And Glenn is an active advocate of the North Texas community and has served multiple boards and organizations, including the United Way of Denton County Board of Directors, Heroes of Denton County, and Texas Women University College of Business Leadership Circle. And Glenn has consistently led by example, bringing not only skill and integrity to his work, but also kindness, mentorship, and a deep sense of responsibility that has positively influenced colleagues, the membership of DATQ, and the community. Therefore, be it resolved, that I, Bill Heidemann, Mayor of the City of Corinth, and the Corinth City Council congratulates and convey best wishes to Glenn McKenzie as he celebrates his well-deserved retirement. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal to be affixed to this, the 19th day of June, 2025. Mr. McKenzie, you have the podium.
Thank you, Bill. Bill told me the other day, and I was going, "For what?" And he's going, "Come on down, just come Thursday." You know how he is. But first, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks to my DATQ family for showing up on their day off. I appreciate that too. And my son showed up. But Bill, he talked a little bit about it, but he didn't. He's the consummate salesperson. And what he didn't tell you was how many times he came to me asking, "Glenn, y'all need to move over here." And you know how he is. We have the best council. We got the best city. We got the best infrastructure. We got the best everything. Why don't you come over here? Be a big fish in a small pond. On and on and on. But thank you. It's been a great, great union between us and the city of Corinth. Just to add on to that, since we've been there and we've moved to that headquarters, we've doubled in size. We were $835 million. Now we're over $1.7 billion. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. What an honor here in my last few days at the credit union. And I'm looking forward to retirement, and I appreciate it. And I know there's nothing going to be but good between you and DATQ from now and in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, wait. We got. Council's going to come down and give you your certificate. But the city manager has a presentation for you also.
The Eagle lost this other one? No.
Okay.
I'm glad you're okay over there. That's terrible.
Okay, citizens' comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Comments about any of the council agenda items are appreciated by the council and may be taken into consideration at this time or during the agenda item. Council is prohibited from acting on or discussing items brought before them at this time. Okay, business agenda. Consider and act upon an alternative compliance tree preservation request by the applicant Kairos Community to waive the 3 tree mitigation fees for the development of 52 townhomes and approximately 2.16 acres located at northeast corner of North Corinth Street and Shady Shores Road. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, Melissa Daly cover this item, answer any questions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is approximately a 2-acre site at Shady Shores and North Corinth Street. It was rezoned recently to MXC. Kairos Development, or Kairos Real Estate, is proposing a development of 52 individually platted and sold townhomes on the site. It is surrounded by kind of a variety of uses, including the rack across the street and the Greenway Trails development currently underway. This is a request for an alternative compliance for tree preservation. So the existing trees, there are 8 trees on the site, so it's not heavily treed. That's a total of 204 caliper inches, and so the mitigation required is for 348 caliper inches, and that varies depending on the size of the trees, and there's a multiplier effect on that. So that total is $52,200. There are 5 protected trees within the public right-of-way. That is, however, outside of the property line for this property of 121 caliper inches. We would love to see those saved. We unfortunately have not a lot of space in that right-of-way to add in a sidewalk, and unfortunately they're sitting right in the center of that area, which is makes it kind of impossible. We looked at every which way to try and save those, but in order to put in at least a 6-foot sidewalk, it just kind of was not possible within the right-of-way. The proposal is to plant 49 new shade trees. We've worked with this developer for a few months now on the layout. This is what they've ended up with, and I'll talk to you about kind of where we came from. There's been very, very significant improvements on the site plan over the last few months to maximize the green space and the area where shade trees can be planted. So the 49 shade trees would be planted along with enhanced landscaping along North Corinth Street. Total cost of that about $46,000. Additionally, the developer will provide the corner of the property to the city for the purpose of a potential roundabout, which we've talked about before at Shady Shores. Of course, that design has not gotten underway yet, but that's going to be managed by the county. But we didn't want to foreclose on the opportunity for a roundabout there. The RAC development did the same dedication on their corner, so that could be a possibility down the road. So they would be providing that to the city. And we believe that overall this plan achieves the goal for the urban canopy both within the development as well as along the street for pedestrian comfort. So the plan on the left is kind of where we started, and you can see there's a pretty significant difference. A lot of this was made possible through internal conversations on the width of the driveways and all kinds of fun details like the curvature so that fire trucks can get through there and all of that sort of detail. So we were able to work internally to narrow those driveways and to provide additional space for both green space and trees. So, for example, you can see here between these townhomes, this was modified to allow for a greater spacing in here, which allowed for additional plantings. This was able to be narrowed on this drive to allow for additional space for plantings. You can see additional trees on the backside here. There's also quite a few more trees along North Corinth Street on 25-foot centers, additional shade trees here and here along these driveways. And here as well. Also, they lessened the number of parking spaces, and looking at the on-street spaces, I believe for guest parking, there'll be plenty of spaces available. Of course, each of the townhomes will have their own parking garages in the rear. So this allowed for a green space here as well with additional shade trees. So staff does recommend approval as presented, and I'll be happy to answer any questions on this.
Any question from council?
The tree that's being saved in the corner, is that not on their property?
It is not.
And do we have an overlay of where the trees are that are being removed? You know, usually you have that one that...
We do. It's right here.
That's it. And the ones right there on North Corinth Street, those are the ones that are in our right-of-way that we're going to have to take out to accommodate a sidewalk?
Yes. I mean, our standards require a sidewalk, of course, and street trees and that streetscape, and they're just unfortunately most of them are sitting right in the center or right on the property line to not allow that sidewalk to be internal with the street trees on the street edge. So it's kind of looking at the long game, essentially, of planting a lot more shade trees for the future where they need to be.
Is there any other question from council? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd entertain a motion on that item.
Mayor, I would move to approve case number AC 25-0001, alternative compliance for tree preservation, Murillo Market request for waiver of tree mitigation as presented.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Cast your vote. It passes. Item number 4, consider an act on a resolution for the appointment of one member to the Board of Managers of the Denko Area 911 District for a 2-year term beginning October 1, 2025. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item tonight is for Corinth to cast its vote for the DEMCO board. And as you saw in your packet, we have 2 nominees that are on the ballot tonight, John Smith Jr. and Steve Southwell, and their information was in your packet. And tonight you would cast a vote for one of those if you wish.
Okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion on that item.
Mayor, I move to approve a resolution appointing John Smith Jr. to the DENCO 911 Board of Managers for a 2-year term beginning October 1st, 2025.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Cast your vote. It's unanimous. Item number 5, consider an act on a resolution for the appointment of Glenn Barker to the Board of Directors of the Opportunity Regional Water District. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I think, as most of you know, Glenn Barker, our Director of Public Works, currently serves on the Opportunity Board to represent Corinth. His term is up, and this recommendation tonight is to reappoint Glenn to that board for a 4-year term. So he does a great job representing us, and I strongly recommend.
Are there any questions from council? Okay, I'd entertain a motion on that item.
Mayor, I would move to approve a resolution reappointing Glenn Barker to the Upper Trinity Water District Board for a 4-year term.
And I'll second.
Any further discussion? Cast your vote. It's unanimous. Council comment and future agenda items. The purpose of this section is to allow each council member the opportunity to provide general updates and or comments to fellow council members, the public, and or staff on any issue or future events. Also, in accordance with Section 30.085 of the Code of Ordinances, at this time, any council member may direct that an item be added as a business item to any future agenda. Mr. Burke?
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Garber?
Nothing, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Al?
Nothing.
Ms. Picken?
I just want to say something really quick. I know that most of y'all have been with me on this journey with Maddie, and next Friday we finish the very last kind of reminder or thing that's kind of stuck around after her stroke, and she'll be having her feeding tube removed. So that's it. We're done. So everybody has been so gracious on this journey, and my kid's doing great, and I thank you for all your support through this, and she's back to her old self.
Well, that's good to hear. Mr. Campbell?
Nothing. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session under Section 551.087, Economic Development. So we're in executive session.